Driving part-time for Uber or Lyft seems like an easy way to earn some extra cash, right? But what if I told you that many part-time drivers are actually losing money after expenses? Hi, my name is Odwong Timothy and welcome to Turn Uber into a Business, where we help you maximize your Uber earnings. Let's use the example of a driver working 10 hours a week, making $150. Looks like easy cash, right? Let's break it down using Google Notebook LM and see how your weekly income stacks up against the true cost of driving. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive.
It's great to be back.
You know, we get a lot of questions about rideshare driving.
We do.
A lot of people asking, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Is it really as good as it seems?
Right.
And we want to look at that today, and specifically, we're going to be focusing on part-time rideshare driving.
Yeah, that's a really interesting area.
Because a lot of people are thinking, hey,
Side hustle.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can make some extra money
Right.
on the side, just driving a few hours here and
A
there.
couple hours in the evening on the weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But are they really making money, or are they actually losing money and just not realizing it?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna dig into today.
Absolutely. And we'll save a deep dive on full-time rideshare driving for another time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a lot to cover there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's talk about part-time. When you see those ads,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, make it $150 for 10 hours of driving.
Easy money, right?
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that maybe people aren't considering when they see those numbers?
Well, it's like you said, it's easy to get caught up in the allure of, quick cash, set your own hours, be your own boss, and $150 for 10 hours, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, that's just the gross income.
Yeah.
That's just the fares that you're collecting.
Right.
You haven't factored in any of the expenses yet. And that's where a lot of drivers, especially part-time drivers, get tripped up.
So they're seeing the 150,
They're seeing the top line number.
but they're not seeing all the stuff that comes out of that.
Right, all the costs that are associated with actually earning that money.
Yeah. So let's break down some of those costs.
Okay, let's do it.
For a typical, let's say a typical part-time driver.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that they're going to be spending money on each week?
Well, let's say, for example, you're driving about 250 miles a week. That's a pretty typical amount for a part-time driver.
Okay.
So first and foremost, you've got gas.
Right.
That's the most obvious one.
Sure.
And depending on your vehicle and current gas prices, that could easily be $30 a week.
Okay. So we're already, a fifth of the way there.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got tolls.
Oh, yeah.
If you're driving in a city with tolls, that could be another $10 a week.
Okay.
Now, these are just the most obvious expenses, the ones that you see right away.
Right.
But then you start to get into the less obvious costs, the ones that people tend to overlook.
Okay. So what are some of those?
Well, let's talk about regular maintenance.
Right.
You got to keep your car running smoothly to be able to drive.
Of course. Yeah.
So you're looking at things like oil changes every few thousand miles.
Right.
That's another $3 a week on average.
Okay.
And then tire rotations,
Oh, yeah.
another $1.50 a week.
And those things, you don't do those every week, obviously.
No, of course not.
But you have to account for it.
Exactly. It's about spreading out the cost over time.
Right.
It's a few bucks here, a few bucks there, but it all adds up.
So we're at like $45 a week so far?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But now we haven't even touched on the bigger expenses.
Oh, boy.
Like miscellaneous expenses,
Yeah.
Things like parking fees, cleaning supplies for your car, just little things here and there that can really add up.
Yeah, I remember when I was driving part-time, sometimes I'd get an airport run and I'd have to park
Exactly.
at the airport. And that was like, $10 right there.
Exactly.
Just pick somebody up.
And those airport parking fees, they can really sneak up on you.
Yeah, for sure.
So, miscellaneous expenses like that could easily be another $115.46 a week.
Wow. Okay, so that's a big jump.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so what else?
Well, then there's insurance. You got to have rideshare insurance to drive for these companies.
Of course.
And that's going to average around $46.19 a week.
Okay.
And even little things like car washes.
Oh, yeah, got to keep it clean for the passengers.
Exactly. You want to make a good impression.
Yeah.
So that's another $4.39 a week.
It's amazing how these little things really add up.
They do.
$4 here, $3 there, doesn't seem like much.
But when you add it all up,
it makes a difference.
absolutely.
Okay, so what have we missed?
The big one, the one that almost everyone forgets about.
Okay, I'm scared.
Depreciation.
Oh, yeah.
The value your car loses over time because of wear and tear.
Right, and especially as a rideshare driver, you're putting a lot more miles on your car.
Exactly. You're driving much more than the average person, so your car is going to depreciate faster.
So how much are we talking about here?
Well, on average, a rideshare driver can expect to lose about $25 a week in depreciation. Yeah, it's a significant cost and one that a lot of people don't even realize they're incurring.
Okay, let's add all this up.
All right.
We've got gas tolls, maintenance miscellaneous expenses,
Yeah.
insurance car washes, and depreciation.
That's right.
What does that come out to?
Well, if you add all those weekly expenses together, you're looking at a grand total of $235.55.
$235.55.
That's week.
And remember, our hypothetical driver was making $150 a week.
Right.
So they're actually losing money.
They are losing $85.55 a week, to be exact.
So even though they're making, $15 an hour.
Which sounds pretty good on the surface.
Right.
When you factor in all those expenses, they're actually spending $23.56 an hour to be on the road.
So they're paying to drive.
Essentially, yes. They're paying $8.56 an hour to drive.
Wow. I think a lot of people just don't realize that.
They don't. And that's especially true for part-time drivers because, they might think, oh, I'm only driving a few hours a week, so my expenses must be lower. But the thing is, a lot of those expenses are fixed costs.
Like insurance.
Exactly. Insurance, depreciation, maintenance. Those costs don't really change much based on how many hours you drive.
So even if you're only driving 10 hours a week?
You're still paying the same amount for insurance as someone who's driving 40 hours a week.
Right.
So those fixed costs can really eat into your profits when you're not driving a lot of hours.
So is it hopeless for part-time jabbers? I mean, can they actually make money?
Oh, absolutely. Part-time driving can definitely be profitable.
Okay.
But it requires a smart approach.
So what are some things that part-time drivers can do?
Well, first and foremost, you've got to track your expenses.
Okay.
You can't manage what you don't measure,
But-
so keep track of everything you spend on gas tolls, maintenance, everything.
There's probably apps for that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are tons of apps out there that can help you track your mileage and expenses.
Okay.
And once you know your true costs, you can start to make more informed decisions about when and where to drive.
So besides tracking expenses, what are some other things that part-time drivers can do to increase their profitability?
Well, one of the biggest things is being strategic about your driving hours.
Okay.
Don't just log on whenever it's convenient for you.
So don't just drive, like on a Tuesday afternoon.
Exactly. Those off-peak hours might be good for, running errands or picking up the kids from school.
Right.
But they're not necessarily the best times to be driving for rideshare.
Because there's not as much demand.
Exactly. You want to drive when there are a lot of people requesting rides.
Like Friday and Saturday nights.
Exactly. Weekend nights, airport runs, rush hour. Those are the times when you're going to get the most fares.
Okay.
And another thing is to be efficient with your driving practices.
So like knowing the city well.
Exactly. The best routes avoid traffic hotspots.
Don't be idling, sitting in traffic.
Exactly. All those little things can add up to wasted time and money.
So it's not just about, how many hours you're driving.
It's about how effectively you're using those hours.
So part-time rideshare driving, it can be profitable,
It can.
but you really have to be smart about it.
You do. You have to understand your costs, you have to optimize your driving strategies, and you have to make sure you're actually earning more than you're spending.
This has been super insightful.
Been my pleasure.
I think a lot of people are going to find this really valuable.
I hope so.
And don't forget, everybody, we have a free book and course all about rideshare driving.
Lots of great tips and information in there.
And you can find the links to that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
And one more thing, we're going to be back next time to talk about full-time rideshare driving.
That's right. We're going to go even deeper into the costs and strategies for full-time drivers.
So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that episode.
Definitely.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
And drive safely out there.
We'll see you next time.
See you then. Bye. Bye.
So after breaking it all down, you can see that making $150 a week isn't as straightforward as it seems. When you factor in expenses like gas, maintenance, depreciation, and even your time, many part-time drivers are barely breaking even. or worse, losing money. This is why treating rideshare like a business is essential. The key isn't just driving more, it's driving smarter. Choosing the right rides, leveraging surge pricing, and using tools like Google Notebook LM to analyze your earnings versus expenses can make all the difference. If you found this breakdown helpful, check out the free ebook and course in the description for more strategies, resources, and gadgets to help you maximize your profits. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them with clear, actionable advice. Until next time, drive smart, make every mile count, and turn your hustle into a business.